and some is see in some also our Ghana ha after election na a course no na odofo nyama e koso Ghana ha de eya asefem chese ndisi fu nyama mo ye no and before cry abom hu Dr. Mahama ba mu nyam nyina de so bia shock omo and before shock omo de se ndisi fu de se John Normani Mahama e poye fa ni besi akonya so no nyama e koso Ghana ha no eya asefem odofo mo manko now
somebody sent me a text. Let's have the people there again, the team in the oral. That text, I mean, it's going on social media, and they said, I'll read it to you in a minute. Give me the list of the Ablakwas committee. Yeah, thank you. So the person said, it's here. And he said that, please, I've seen this on social media, but I still want you to read it on Good Evening Ghana. It has been used by some stations already. He said, okay, it's an MPP thing. They talk about, they say, okay, let's go through the leaders of the committee. Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa, the same man who was prosecuted by Martin Amidu for Isofoten corruption for $1 million, the chairman of the committee. That's what he says. Then he comes to, he continues to Martin Pebu. He says, Martin Pebu, Paul, you yourself have said on TV and quoted the High Court ruling where Martin Pebu was found for stealing somebody's book, intellectual property. That's what it says about Martin Pebu. Then he says Raymond Archer, the man who bought state land at trade fair for 100 cedis, and put his private company on it and was making business. Oh, I know that story. I interviewed Raymond on Good Evening Ghana. Did he buy it for 100 cedis? I don't know what arrangement he had, but yes, he had his company at trade fair. McDan and the trade fair people went to break it. He came on Good Evening Ghana. We had an interview. But the person says a man who bought government land for well, it is government land, his company was there, but I don't think that he bought it for 100 cedis. I don't know. Okay, and then he goes on to say, Kofi Boakye, Paul, again, were you not one of the journalists who covered the Georgiana Wood committee where Kofi Boakye was questioned for his alleged involvement in drug dealing, and following that, the police service actually suspended him and changed his position from director of operations to head of education, the little education unit near the license office. That's where his office was. And he was suspended for 1 year before he came back to that one. I covered the Georgiana Wood. Yeah, it's true. I covered the Georgiana Wood. Some of you are young, you don't know, but there was a Georgiana Wood committee set up in 2007 or 6, I think, about this MV Benjamin cocaine scandal. I mean, in those days, I used to talk to Raymond Archer quite a bit because he knew about the scandal. I used to talk to him quite a bit about that. Okay, so, and then who else? He said, finally, Domilevo, who had a moral deficiency for accepting an appointment from a president who had lost election, and then proceeded to forge his age and was exited from the government by being alleged to have forged his age. Are these the people who are going to follow corruption and chase it for President Mahama? God help Ghana, he says. I'm not sure whether all of those things are correct. But anyway, so that's the conversation. So this committee don't have legal legitimacy. They don't. So they are going to, if I know of corruption, I call one of them, Kofi Boakye, whom I know. Whose number do I have here? I think it's only Kofi Boakye. Maybe Raymond Archer, yeah. So I called them and I said, I want to come before your committee. I said, hey, good morning. How are you? Please, my name is Paul Adumot. I know that the former minister of this, he has a house at Adenta. And when you go into that house, I went for a party there. He has a swimming pool behind the house, and under the swimming pool, he has money there. You have to go and collect it. I don't know where he got the money from, but I'm sure that he has stolen it. I'm sure it's so you have to go and collect it. Then they write it down. They write the name of the person, and then that's it. Then I leave. Then they'll ask me that what is the basis? Do you have this? I come. I said that I know somebody who works at ECG, and he told me that when they were importing the meters, the board chairman, he brought his own company. It is for him. And that company is the one that imported. Hey, what's the name of the company? The name of the company is Nyamele Woke Enterprise. Okay, good. Nyamele Woke Enterprise. Who is the owner? It's for the board chairman of ECG. He's the one who owns that company. I know, pa. Do you know how I know? Because his driver came there and I took the checkbook and I looked and his name was in it. The Nyamele Woke Enterprise, his name was there. It's for the board chairman. Okay, they collect the information. Then another person comes says this. So President Mahama is saying that they are going to collect all that information. They will gather it as evidence and then hand it over to IYOKO, a special prosecutor, the Attorney General's department. All of those are legitimate state institutions that can then go to Registrar General. In fact, this committee cannot write to Registrar General. They don't have a locus to write anything to Registrar. They can't write to anybody. They can't write to GRA. They can't do anything. So when President Mahama is inaugurated, as he says, this committee will now gather the evidence. Now, this is how serious it is. If President Mahama becomes, when President Mahama becomes president on 7th January, and he wants to set up a committee like this, under the constitution, the president of Ghana is allowed to set up commissions of inquiry and committees of inquiry. That process goes through parliament. So the president will write to parliament and say that I'm setting up a commission of inquiry. I like it to go through parliament. I'm setting up the commission for this purpose. There will be a set terms of reference. There will be everything in there. It's not a wide set of reference that if you know that somebody has stolen, come and tell us. No. When it goes to parliament, they will have a terms of reference. And then the president will make proposal of the names of people who should go on that committee. Any Ghanaian can challenge any of those names. So when the president is in opposition, he can just set up this, is fine. But when he becomes president, he can't set up committee of inquiry, commission of inquiry without the laid down due process. Now, what's a commission of inquiry? That's what they set up. I also West Wogon. You remember that? The one who went to Emil Short and some people, set up by the president through parliament, approved by parliament. The other one, National Truth and Reconciliation Committee, set up by Kufuor way back. Some of you may be too young to remember. It went through parliament. So presidents of Ghana, their role is outlined in the 1992 constitution. When they want to set up a committee or a commission of inquiry, and lawyers know that there's a difference between a committee of inquiry and a commission of inquiry, go and watch B.A.J. Darocha, he will tell you. There's a major world of difference between commission of inquiry and committee of inquiry. It came up in the 1969 constitution and all of that. So lawyers know that. So presidents cannot just set up committee. Now, when he sets up the committee, pursuant to the provisions on the laid down rules, any Ghanaian can say, but Mr. President, if you are setting up a committee for corruption, why is this man on it? And that challenge to that committee of inquiry would be entertained because he's Ghanaian. And the president is setting up a commission of inquiry, is doing that in exercise of the powers conferred on him by the constitution, which powers are conferred on him by the social contract, which powers are conferred on him by the citizens of Ghana through the ballot box. Therefore, he cannot set up a committee outside the laid down rules of procedure. He would have to do that. This committee can be set up anyhow he wants. But once he's president and he says, I want to set up a committee of inquiry, commission of inquiry, he has to do it according to the rules. And Ghanaians can challenge the people that he puts on it, because he's setting up the committee pursuant to an authority that is drawn from the ballot box, from the will of the people of Ghana. I think we are done on that. Why would you?
Odofo munina mudi bemila baba hwe bi mudi maso nso etie bi nyama ekoso Ghana ha se na medine nyina brɛ ɛwɔ akomati odofo we ni nsema ekoso ɛwɔ Ghana ha se just after the election na meso medine nyina brɛ mu akomati odofo isi ade medine munya besia akra